Good morning, everyone. It's another beautiful sunny day here. It's cool, yes. It's going to warm up though. And yeah, it's the beginning of February, but my door's open. Yes. Let the sunshine in and the warmth. Yes, yes, yes. Besides, I can just put a little bit more clothes on. Save the wood for really cold days. So, interesting sequence of events we had happening over, I'd say, a couple of weeks or something, 3 weeks, maybe even longer, depending on. We have a four-wheeler. It's not mine. It belongs to my brother-in-law, and it has a box on the back. And there was something in there that smelled bad. The only reason I know that is because my sis-in-law went down the road a couple of weeks ago to meet my husband. And in the snow, it was snowing, this snap. She needed something, and he brought it to her. And he gave her a bag, a grocery bag, which she didn't look into it to see what it was, and she stuck it in the back of that box. Not thinking, not knowing what was in the bag, regardless though. And I don't have anything to do. I don't ride that four-wheeler. I don't have anything to do with it. And so whatever was in that box, that I was told something smells in it. I'm not going to open that thing up and see what it is. So I thought I'll let the person that's responsible for all that stuff do that. Well, ended up being a bunch of steaks and beef stew meat in that grocery bag, which came in the house, and I stuck it in the freezer. It was fresh, and I stuck it in the freezer because there was too much to just try to use up in a few days. So I kept, there was two different batches of meat that I got around the same time. So I stuck it all in the freezer, kept using it, and everything seemed fine until I used the beef stew meat a few days ago. And I had a bowl, and I had made a coleslaw to go with it, and I ate probably a couple of bowls of it that first day. It was delicious. And the next morning, I went, wow, what happened? When I had a bowel movement, I went, man, that's awfully loose. What's going on? My stomach was just a little queasy, and I thought, man, is something wrong with a coleslaw or something? I don't know. And, well, didn't think too much about it anymore. My sis-in-law had a bowl as well, and she seemed fine, and, well, as I said, didn't think of, I wondered, well, sometimes you have a day where you just, Then last night I ate the rest, or yesterday, I ate the rest of it, the day before yesterday, ate the rest of it. Was it yesterday? No, it was yesterday. And same thing happened this morning again. I'm going, okay. So I told my sister-in-law, I said, you know what? I said, how did you feel after you ate that bowl of stew? And she says, I was fine. But my sister-in-law also takes stomach medicine to not get sick or whatever. And as I said, it was very mild. It wasn't, but I could definitely tell something wasn't quite right. And I told her, I said, man, I think it's the beef stew. She says, did you have more of that coleslaw? And she had coleslaw as well. And no, I said, no, not yesterday. I didn't eat none of that. So it had to be the beef stew. So I'm going, gee, I wonder what's going on. I wonder if that meat may have not been very good anymore or something. Suddenly she hollers from her bedroom. She says, hey, you know what that bag was? It was in that compartment on the four-wheeler where that smelly thing is in it. And yesterday, We needed, my brother-in-law has one of those things you can put over a post and go boom, boom, so it goes in easier. I was looking for that, couldn't find it. So I called him up and I said, hey, where is that? He says, oh, I think it's in that back of that four-wheeler. That's the first time that I opened that up. And yeah, ooh, it wasn't in there. Okay. Anyway, but I opened it up and sure enough did smell what was in there and mentioned that to my sister. And I was like, hey, guess what, man? Yeah, there's something in there. And I think I found it too. It's disintegrating. It's whatever. I said, I'm not cleaning it out. I mean, I moved just a couple of things and I looked at that and I just about started to gag and going, this is not of my making. Anyway, closed it up again. And she says, you know, I put that bag in there. I didn't know it was meat, but I put that bag in that. So, well, I took, and it must have, interestingly enough, that was the only pack that I had used so far of that batch of meat. And there must have been something that attached itself immediately to the bag, to the inside, whatever, and attached itself to the packages. Some kind of a bacteria. Thank God that I wash my meat. It doesn't matter what it is, where it comes from. I wash my meat when it comes in packages. And you know, the odd thing is oh no, don't wash the meat. That's a bad thing too. I'm going, oh, I don't care. I'm going to wash it, right? And then of course I use it immediately. Don't putting it aside for 2 or 3 hours then to grow whatever it could while you're washing your meat or something after you washed it. And no doubt from the package, whatever, there must have been some on my hand still, okay? Throwing it away, this, that, and it got into the food. And even though that was cooked for a long time, it stayed. It didn't get killed. It was a very mild case of something, okay? Of contaminated. The package got contaminated. The meat may not have been contaminated because it was packaged. But through the package, meat and handling, the food, this and that, still some of it was still there. Can you imagine if I would have just taken it out of the package, handled the meat, didn't wash it, and just put it in the stew? I could have gotten a heck of a lot more sick. So what did I have to do? I had to clean out my whole freezer. I'm not taking any chances. And everything had to go in the garbage. Or I'm feeding it to the animals. The animals can handle it. They're used to that kind of stuff. That's not something I'm worried about is going to cause any problems for them. We're a little bit more sensitive when it comes to all that as human beings. Interestingly enough, though, I kind of found the culprit of it, this or that. Still, it was kind of this sequence of events that, knowing, then telling me, I could have just not said anything. Gosh, it's kind of a private thing. And when your poop is not quite as you expected or whatever, right? Yet, the communication, suddenly she remembered, oh, hey, by the way. But she put it in because she didn't know. But regardless, if, right, whatever would have attached itself to it, to whatever bag, it would have been handled. You know, I could have touched something that I was going to eat afterwards, and I still would have gotten a little sick and then would have not known at all. Right? Okay. Well, it was a mild case. It wasn't anything serious yet. When I also moved, and I just cleaned out that freezer, when I moved some things, I could see them little flies. I'm going, oh, wow, this went fast. How did this go so fast? Right? That whole box out there is contaminated. And I'm going to spray something in there. I'm not cleaning it out. I'm not going to do that. No. I'm big on cleanliness. Whatever I do, this or that, my stuff's organized. My stuff's taken care of. But I live with other people. Okay, who are a little bit more leisure about things like that. So yeah, I will put something in there to sanitize it. Just throw it in there, you know, pour something over top because I have to. Everything that's in there is contaminated now. And then I'm going to close it up again and let it do its thing. But it also, so one could say, oh my gosh, you know what? Oh, well, less than a perfect day, right? Now, I don't look at things like that. I was grateful. Oh my gosh. I could have gotten a whole lot more sick by using what I still have in the freezer if I didn't know about that. Right? Yes? Because as I said, it was a mild case. It could have been, yeah, but twice in a row, eating the same thing, Okay? And I looked at all the stuff and I pulled it out of the freezer and I thought, ugh, oh my God. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was some stuff. Ugh, I'm not throwing all this out now because of, ugh. And there were some things, I put some bleach and soap in a bowl, and what was really good sealed, I just cleaned it like that with the bleach, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be all right. But I had to let go of a few things, and I had to just let it go. I could take a chance, and I mean, it was just mild, wasn't? And I thought, don't be stupid. You found out for a reason, okay? Don't be uneducated. You just got educated on what's going on in your freezer with your food and why you're not feeling well. Let go. Let go of it. It happened, so be it. Let go of it. I think it's in our life when we realize that we're on a path that's kind of, man, that's not making me feel well, physically or spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, then find out. Share with people, share with someone. I find it interesting on how God will send you someone that you suddenly feel like, I can talk to this person. Yes? Even if it's just for you to get more clarity while you're articulating what is going on in your life. And then let go of it. And eliminate it out of your life. Don't try to, sometimes you can't fix things. You just let it go. You've got to just say no to it. And then start afresh. Yes? In a way, I thought that was a really, really good lesson. Yes? Yeah. I'd say about a couple of years now, I love to cook. I love to cook my own stuff. I still have butternut squash from my last harvest. I have pumpkins. I have a cushaw. I have all kinds of stuff still, right? Yes, that I just love to make myself. I know this comes out of my garden, organic everything. The soil, the fertilizer, which is my soil that hasn't quite become soil yet. Everything's just organic around here. So when I eat something like this, I know this is all just 100% God's goodness going into my body. And I feel good. But, because I don't live alone, sometimes other food comes into the house. And one goes, all right, And I kept giving in and giving in and giving in. And I didn't feel, I started not feeling so good anymore. And I had a hard time saying no, not because the food was just also kind of, oh yeah, who doesn't like Lee's chicken, or this or that. But the biscuits in Lee's chicken, even though, again, they look so appetizing, this in a way, made me sick every time. Every time I started to feel not so well when I would eat those. With the chicken, the same thing. Whatever they put in it, anyway. Hard to say no, right? Yes? Though you really don't want to eat it. And then the other factor there is that I don't want to hurt the people's feelings who are bringing, something in that it's already cooked. You don't have to cook. And really, so, you know what I mean? Yeah. And a few months ago, I just said, no, I'm done. I'm done with all that. I don't want to eat that. You can bring it in the house and you eat it, but I'm not going to eat that anymore. Amazingly enough, though I like to eat, and I don't eat just I'm never on a diet. I don't do that. If someone in the house says, "Hey, I want to do the keto, or I want to do the carnivorous, or the whatever," and oh, okay, I support them, and then accordingly cook a little bit different, so that because it's a healthy thing to do, and kind of go along with that. But it usually doesn't last long with that. I think I always last much longer than them. But as far as that, I will start a diet. Nah, no, no. I found after I just said, nah, I'm done with that. I don't want to eat Debbie cakes. I don't want to eat that weird bread. I don't want to eat, whatever you bring into the house. When it comes to certain already prepared food, I'm just not interested. So it's there for you. Let me know when you're done with it, and then either the dogs or the pig gets it, as long as there's no ham in it, right? Or anything like that, or the chickens. Amazingly enough, I started to lose weight again. Okay, was I unhappy with my weight? No, not really. It's my weight always kind of fluctuates a little bit. Just depends on how much I do. But it's amazing on how I eat no less than before, but I eat good things, healthy things that aren't loaded from the top of the package to the bottom of the package with ingredients I don't even know how to spell or what they are. Do you know what I mean? Yes. I tell you, you'll save a lot of money that way too. Buy little. While we were in town, I went into United Grocery. It's a great store. It's much cheaper than other places. It's got good food. You got to watch the dates a little bit on it, okay? And they got good stuff. Oftentimes they have a lot of organic things because well, people aren't, okay, it costs more otherwise, but when you get it there, it's a lot cheaper. Right? And it has to go for quick sale because it's closer to the dates and stuff like that. So you get really good things. You get things also that are kind of, you can't really find otherwise in the stores. It's very interesting, to me anyway. And I put $50 in my pocket and said, that's my allowance for this month to buy food. Yeah. Well, I said, I have a lot of things that I put in the freezer, in the big freezer. Thank God I didn't put that package in there. Oh, thank you, Father. And thank God that the meat that I bought there, the chicken, they're big packages, so I usually just cut up the meat or separate the meat out in smaller packages, so I don't have to take the whole package out, defrost it. Okay, you get my drift. I hadn't done that yet. And thank God I hadn't done that yet. I would have had to throw all of that out as well. Oh, you see? Yeah, okay. Spirit world is with me, we'll make her procrastinate on that because hopefully she'll figure out why she wasn't feeling well. All right, my life. So, yep, I came home with plenty and good things that I enjoy eating. I enjoy eating it. It feels good eating it, and it makes me feel good. Yeah. Ah, interesting that from let me tell you what happened, and how I was queasy and for as I said, very mild, to talking about good food and on how the energy level also is just way higher as well. Yes? Yeah. Well, anyway, I know. What am I talking about here just before? I felt like I should share it. It's to be aware of when you're not feeling so well. Okay, this was like low-grade food poisoning. Yeah. Well, something was contaminated. Something got into my stew, and then I had to do the cleanup. But then I said, you have to let go because I watched myself. But that's a whole thing of flour. But it was in paper. I couldn't take the chance. I wanted to, but I knew I had to let go. I had to say, well, It is what it is. Right? Yes? And the next time someone's going to tell me that there's a smell somewhere, I'm going to make sure that they clean that up right away. Day. Anywho, okay. All right. Had a lot to say today about that. Well, I could just talk about all the good things, all the great things. Every day's a perfect day. Or again, what do you regard as perfect, right? Or not perfect. And as if there are no mishaps ever going on here, right? Well, there are. Yes, there are. I sometimes feel like, well, I live with other adults here, so I should be able to give the responsibilities they want to have, to them, and just step back and say, okay, right? But I found that in other areas as well, no, as the guiding eye, as the guiding hand, regardless with whom you live, you're going to have to keep guiding. You're going to have to keep a watchful eye. And if you don't, things like what I just said, what happened with the bag of meat in my freezer, because I didn't step right in when I was told something smelled in there, right? Yes? Okay. Not going to happen again, I can tell you that. All right. Yep. Okay. So, what do you think, Bo? I heard you. Are you coming down? Did you already come down? I didn't see him come down. Bo? He isn't allowed to go out with the other two. Oh, he's out there, yeah. Because of his leg. Poor guy was really suffering yesterday. So I said, nah, you're going to have to wait till Sissy comes home again. She's at work now, a couple of days. And she can let you out. So the other two took off. By themselves. Okay, all right. We are in the second book of Kings, 21. 2 wicked kings. The reign of Manasseh in Judah, 687 to 642. Whoa, that was a pretty long reign. Oh, yeah, because he was, 12? Manasseh was 12 years old when he came to the throne, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hephzibah. He did what is displeasing to Yahweh, copying the disgusting practices of the nations whom Yahweh had dispossessed for the Israelites. Well, Manasseh now was the successor of Hezekiah, right? How the heck? What, he didn't teach his son again? I mean, what is all this? So my question then is if Hezekiah really did what we were told he did, taking down all the high places, idols, all that stuff, then his son would have grown up with what? Yet. Here we go again. Who did Hezekiah marry? Aha. Who was raising that boy? Aha. With what practices? Aha. Okay. Even though, supposedly, Hezekiah, so he had no clue what's going on in his own palace. Oh, all right. Gotcha. All right. He rebuilt the high places which his father Hezekiah had destroyed. He set up altars to Baal and made a sacred pole as Ahab, king of Israel, had done. He worshipped the whole array of heaven and served it. He built altars in the temple of Yahweh, of which Yahweh had said, Jerusalem is where I shall put my name. He built altars to the whole array of heaven in the 2 courts of the temple of Yahweh. He caused his son to pass through the fire of sacrifice. He also practiced soothsaying and divination and set up mediums and spirit guides. he did very many more things displeasing to Yahweh, thus provoking his anger. Really? He had an image of Asherah carved and placed it inside the temple of which Yahweh had said to David and his son Solomon, in this temple and in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I shall put my name forever. Really? I don't think that God really is stationary anywhere like that. But hey, it served someone's purpose to put that, to believe that, or to say that. Nor shall I ever again set Israel's footsteps wandering outside the country which I gave to their ancestors, provided they are careful to observe all I have commanded them, as laid down in the whole law which my servant Moses prescribed for them. That's almost a fallible sentence here. Nor shall I ever again set Israel's footsteps wandering, if there's an absolute with a condition. Okay, well. But they would not listen, and Manasseh misled them into doing worse things than the nations whom Yahweh had destroyed for the Israelites. Okay, now let's not just blame Manasseh here, okay, to start with. Because where are all the priests, the Levites, Levites? The whole tribe die out? Who's supposed to be guiding the people? The king? And whatever he wants to do? Okay. All right. Then Yahweh spoke through his servants. Oh, here they come. The prophets as follows. Since Manasseh, king of Judah, has done these shameful deeds, why was he even able to do that? If there were all these prophets there, why did they not stop him? Why did the people not say, no, you're not going to do that? Oh, because he had armies, and then really? So fear. There's a big old fear factor here as well. Wow. Doing more wicked deeds than anything which the Amorites did before him, and has led Judah too into sin with his idols, Yahweh God of Israel says this: Look, I shall bring such disaster on Jerusalem and Judah as will make the ears of all who hear of it tingle. Okay. Over Jerusalem I shall stretch the same measuring line as over Samaria, the same plumb rule as for the house of Ahab. I shall scour Jerusalem as someone scours a dish, and having scoured it, turns it upside down. I shall cast away the remnant of my heritage, delivering them into the clutches of their enemies, and making them the prey and booty of all their enemies, because they have done what is displeasing to me, and have provoked my anger from the day their ancestors came out of Egypt until now. All right. So I'm getting here. Manasseh is, okay, whatever. That all is going on again. Okay. How are the people faring with all that? How were they faring at the time of Hezekiah? And how are things now? Is there a difference? If they have a king that actually, got rid of all them high places, idols, this and that, and is still somewhat self-centered. We talked about that in the chapter before, right? Or is it the same? And then Manasseh here, who's doing, how are the people faring? It doesn't say. We might find out in the Chronicles, right? Okay, all right. But still, it doesn't say anything here. So all we have is, okay, that one's doing what's pleasing to God, this one displeasing to God, and is there any difference either way? I don't know. It doesn't tell us that. Then here come the prophets every time. The prophets seem to come every time. It doesn't matter if it is Hezekiah who's doing things pleasing to God, or Manasseh who's doing things displeasing to God. Here come the prophets, and what are they doing? It's nothing but a fearmonger. Every time. There's nothing positive here. Well, what is there positive to say? Why aren't these prophets teaching about God? Why not? Why? It's just, well, God's angry. This is what he's going to do with you. Blah, 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 blah. Eh? Yes? Well, has it worked in the past? All the stuff happening to the Israelites, is it working? I think we need to get back to God. I think there is the reasons we're having all these problems. Because we're not willing to let go of what we shouldn't be doing. But nobody seems to come to that conclusion. Interesting? It's like violence begets violence. That's what we're being told here. That's how God is. There's violence going on, displeasing stuff to him going on. You're doing things displeasing to me. I'm going to do things displeasing to you. That's what we're being told here. That's how God is like. You agree with that? That's how God works in our lives? All right. Manasseh shed innocent blood, well, there you go, 2, in such great quantity that he flooded Jerusalem from one end to the other, besides the sins into which he led Judah by doing what is displeasing to Yahweh. Who was he killing? He flooded Jerusalem with it. Well, then he must have been doing it there. What was this dude doing? The rest of the history of Manasseh, his entire career, the sins he committed, is this not recorded in the book of the Annals of the Kings of Judah. Then Manasseh fell asleep with his ancestors and was buried in the garden of his palace, the garden of Uzzah. His son Amon succeeded him. Amon, remember what I said about the names? Amon? Is that? I don't know. Maybe it is. Is that a Hebrew name? Okay. The reign of Amon in Judah, 642 to 640. And the other thing too, this dude, for over 50 years, Manasseh ruled for 50 years. What happened to, oh, if you're displeasing to me, and if you're not doing what I want you to do, God saying, oh, supposedly, he says that here, then your lineage your blood will be, this guy had 50 years to shed blood of innocent people. Sounds like that's what they say. And nothing happened. Okay, just saying. Why do people pull God into all this? What's the purpose of it? Unless it's for restoration. Where are the prophets teaching the people? Or what are they teaching the people? It seems to me that none of them, nobody here has a connection to God anymore. It's all gone. Completely gone. God's just being used. The reign of Amon in Judah, 642 to 640. Amon was 22 years old when he came to the throne, and he reigned for 2 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Meshullemeth, daughter of Harutz of Jotbah. He did what is displeasing to Yahweh, as Manasseh his father had done. Well, here we go. Interestingly enough, Manasseh did teach his son to do the same as he did. Hezekiah seemed to not have done that. I'm saying seemed, I don't know, but that's what it sounds like, doesn't it? In every respect, he followed the example of his father, serving the idols which his father had served, and worshipping them. He abandoned Yahweh, God of his ancestors. He did not follow the way of Yahweh. Amon's retinue plotted against the king and killed him in his own palace. The people of the country, however, slaughtered all those who had plotted against King Amon and proclaimed his son Josiah as his successor. Oh, what's that telling us? That the people actually, under the rule of Manasseh and Ammon, were happy with the way things were? Interesting. The rest of the history of Ammon, his entire career, is this not recorded in the book of the Annals of the Kings of Judah? He was buried in his father's tomb in the garden of Uzzah. His son Josiah succeeded him. Josiah, what? Are you hungry? The next one, that's the end of this one. Josiah and the religious reform. Oh. Okay. That's it, my dear people. I hear you. And someone is hungry. Why don't you go bark out there for a minute and bring those two other ones home? Huh? Now? Interesting, isn't it? Interesting? He ain't gonna stop barking. He likes to talk. Just like me. He has things to say. When he comes back from when they're out there, right, Bo? You have things to say? You got a story to tell? That's right. Yes. And I can understand it in any which way I want to. Just like here. People want to understand this any which way they want to? Well, fine. Feel God, thank God. And see what the people are doing to God. All of them. Doesn't matter who it is. Right? You're ready? Okay, I'm coming. That's what I have to share this morning. God's love, blessings always. May He protect you. Bo says, may He protect you too. Do what's right out there. Right? Educate yourself on what's right and wrong in the eyes of what? Our Father in heaven, our parental God. That's right. Right? Yes? Look, if you don't want to listen to me, listen to him. Okay? He knows. Right? That's right. You know, don't you? I will talk to you another time.